Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another lovely evening of Link to the Past Randomizer here with the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2021. Today we've got runners UpliftingChafe and VeXtopher, mentored by greycorvid and Espeon. I'm BenCreighton in the commentary booth, and joining me is EsperHubb. How you doing, Esper?
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? I'm doing all right.
So I'm pretty excited. UpliftingChafe was my mentee the first 2 weeks of this, 7 weeks of Swiss before we move on to brackets. So I didn't get to see his last race. I'm excited to see how he does this week.
Yeah, it's always good to see how your mentees are faring after you do a session or two with them. So we are getting a countdown, so we should be underway. This is standard items, open settings, assured sword, and 7 to defeat Ganon, 7 to open up Ganon's tower, and we are underway.
Looks like Vex had a little bit of a false start there, decided Sank start is the order of the day, so we get that nice instantaneous divergence that I always like to see in these open seeds.
Usually it's fine to go like divergence routes, but with the assured sword, you may find runners more inclined to do escape first, so it allows them to do all the checks from there. And we're getting some bombs on tree pools today. That's going to be extremely helpful early in this early stage.
Yep, very nice to have that peace of mind. And yes, I absolutely agree that we make the memes about her dirty uncle routers, but in open assured sword, it really is the opening that makes a whole lot of sense. And it looks like Vex has also discovered that bomb tree pull.
Crab prize is only 1 rupee, so we're not going to get anything spectacular so far from the crab.
And yep, just 10 arrows on Lumberjack. Nothing to get excited about quite yet, but you know, we're less than 2 minutes in. It's okay. The good stuff will come, we promise.
And before you jinx this entire seed and everything's backloaded. But all jokes aside.
Backloaded what? That's $20 right there. That's $20 you didn't have before. You could trade it in for something, probably.
I suppose we do need money for the early stages of the seed, because you need money for Bottle Merchant. You also need money for Zora Lake, which is like 500 rupees. You also need money for the digging game, chess game, which grants you 2 more checks, which is both respectively 50 rupees and 80 rupees, as well as getting into Palace of Darkness, which is 110 rupees. So coming across money early in the stage is not a bad thing to grab. Just grab all you can, and if you do end up getting like 300s and a few chests here and there, that's okay. You can use that for safety money. I'd also like to comment that Uplifting is doing an excellent run so far of their escape sequence.
Yep, I did notice that double spin on the first key guard against the statue. Somebody in the comm booth may have taught him that one. Just saying.
Just saying. But yeah, we're getting to the end part of it. We didn't really get much from Blind besides a bug net. So let's see what Zelda's dungeon comes up with. Hopefully something good. No, just a map. Time to save and quit. Call it a day.
And Vex dropping into the well. That's a Quake medallion. And that's about it. Lots of pieces of heart, lots of 20 rupee pieces, but not a whole lot of good stuff quite yet.
Yeah, well, you know, it'll come eventually, someday. while we're still here. But yeah, those pieces of hearts can come in handy, especially if you end up getting plunged into the Dark World very early. With the green mail, the enemies in Dark World hurt a lot. They do a lot of damage. And if you don't have a blue mail, then you're gonna find yourself like taking a few early deaths if you're not careful about it. As we get a flippers in the back of Tavern, our runners are going to be feeling very delightful about checking Zora now without having a fake flipper.
And in answer to Lumaga in chat, as of this, the 4th week of Swiss, VeXtopher is sitting with a record of 1-2. Chafe has a record of 2-1. So Chafe potentially the slight favorite, although it's still such early days. I don't know that you can put too much stock in win-loss records quite yet.
Wow, how are you gonna pick favorites like that? I think it's fair to say all these mentees are favorites. You can't be picking a favorite child just yet. You gotta wait for the win the tournament. But yeah, we're going into the raise game blind, which is, you know what? I appreciate this play because we have not come across anything serious, except for some bombs. You know, I would have picked those up. I'll be honest. If I see some bombs like that and I went in there blind, I'll just take it as is and move on with my life.
And Vex still staying out of Escape, heading south towards the South Shore play. Of course, we know that Escape's not going to hold much for him. So if he can stay out of there for a while, it'll be good times.
Yeah, it could play into his advantage of not checking it, especially when in go mode, because that means he took less time to get all of his stuff going. Let's see, we've gotten the damn 100 rupees. That's a nice thing to have right now, especially when we're probably in the decision-making point where if we do end up getting enough rupees, we can go pay a visit to Zora and knock all those checks out. That would fit in the route nicely if we end up getting like 300 rupees or more. Well, actually, technically 400, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it would take some doing to get up to Zora money, although, hey, that 300 stack from the dam will certainly help.
Cha-ching! Main road. So now we're going to take a look at Mini Mort Cave. He doesn't have magic, which is a pity because, like, I would love to see Quake being used to just stifle these mini morts to be slime so that you don't have to like chase them down to defeat. But looks like Vex has taken care of them in a timely manner. We get blue mail, piece of heart, and from the nice guy in the cave, we get another piece of heart, 20 more rupees, and a whole heart. Blue mail is gonna be a welcome sight because now we don't have to take as much damage as we do.
Yep, always nice to find those safeties early in the run when they can still do you a whole lot of good. You find blue mail when you're already at 15 or 16 hearts. It's like, okay, this is nice. You find it when you're at 6 hearts. That's huge.
Yeah, having safeties early is a welcome sight. Like, sure, it's not your progression, but it's that added defense that can help make a difference.
Heads up play from Vex using the flippers to cut the corner of the little crab area here.
I like to call it the crab rave party. There's so many crabs there. Well, actually like 4 or 3 if I remember correctly. But inside the ice cave, we get a whole heart. So nothing much from South Shore besides our blue mail. And that will be the signal for Vex to leave and go into what I'm going to guess Eastern Palace.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because you could see him flipping open that menu.
Oh, wait, you know what? You could be doing
Yeah.
Hobo. Hobo going into Zora, but usually when you got like 433 rupees, I would like to think you would try to at least farm for a bit more, like through the rupee room.
And hey, did you wish to see Quake used? Because look over on the right-hand side of your screen.
It gets a full magic for its efforts too. That's a delightful return. But yeah, we get 50 more rupees from the hobo. Hobo decided to give Link his life savings, which is unfortunate. Well, I want to say was hoping for probably some sort of progression, but that save and quit means they're probably going to do some other things first. Looks like they're marching towards escape.
Yep, it's a big ask to keep putting that off. The eastern area does have a little more check density, but I can't fault him for the escape play.
Yeah, this is fine. Like, this is like in the nature of the seat, a Sphere Zero, compared to Eastern Palace, which it requires the bow to finish. But something to think of is that it's not a huge offense to dip into Eastern Palace this early, even if you do not have the bow or a lantern to navigate through it and finish it, because sometimes your progression could be there and sometimes it could not. Like, nothing is guaranteed, so it's always a gamble to do these decisions.
Yep, and it looks like Chafe's going to be walking out of Ice Rod Cave. I'll be interested to see if he heads to the Zora area, because he is sitting at exactly the required 500 rupees for that check.
I mean, if I was in this runner shoes, I would have gone ahead and do so, especially with the flippers. You got the Waterfall Ferry that has 2 checks. The Hobo, which is another check. You can also check the Hyrule Lake Island. And then you can check, see if you get scammed, as well as Zora's Ledge. So that's like, I want to say altogether 5 checks that you already have access into. This is all entirely
in logic, and also since Chafe has already done the escape sequence, or at least the front, he's got to be thinking it's this or Eastern, unless we get a wild Agena play.
Oh man, I'm never prepared for those wild Agena plays at all. Like, I think last time I saw an Agena play was like it had Fire Rod, and I think I was running it just on the practice seat. I was like, this is disgusting.
Yeah, but the way things are going, we might find ourselves bottlenecked there. We'll see what's in those Zora checks, because we're looking for a glove, we're looking for a Moon Pearl, and either a second glove or a hammer for Dark World access, and we have 0 of those things right now, so that progression's got to be hiding somewhere.
Something tells me it's going to give us a lantern first, and if that's the case, I'm calling it right now. We're going to do Aga 1. Oh, well, when we get Hookshot instead, that's fantastic. That's a beautiful thing to come across, because Hookshot not only gives you some early game movement, but it allows you to kill some enemies pretty quickly. Also stun price.
Yep, it's not progression yet, but you're almost certainly gonna need it, unless you're one of those filthy hover boys.
I don't think anyone in this tournament is a hover boy just yet. If anything, if you're hovering,
what are you doing in the Mentor tournament? Get out of here. We don't serve your kind here. And new checks coming on both sides. Let's see what Zora has. It is Moon Pearl.
All right, so that's one of 3 items required for the Dark World access, but Moon Pearl puts us in a pretty nice spot. But it also means that with all the other checks not really having anything else, we're going to have to take a look at Eastern Palace. Or, Agena's Cave. Which one comes first? But it looks like UpliftingChafe is going to go ahead to the Eastern Palace, which that has a lot of density.
Yep, and you know what else it has? It has the key under the proverbial doormat. That was the bow in the back of Sasra's closet. So it's not in logic necessarily without, well, it's not in logic without lamp, but theoretically, if you're good at your dark rooms, you could just knock out Eastern right here for a red crystal.
Yep. And if I was, oh, we get a green pendant in Skull Woods, so that's one of our pendant locations. But I feel like if we are in a situation like this, practicing, learning how to deal with the logic and how to break the logic, breaking the logic by doing the dark rooms is always like the first go-to step to becoming either like, well, not become a better runner, but become a more efficient runner. Is what I like to say, because you can knock out some of those dark rooms if you can, and not have to worry about coming back to them if you don't have the lantern at all. What I will say though is that probably the only vicious kind of dark rooms is Hyrule Castle Tower, as well as Misery Mire. Now, from my perspective, you probably won't come across a situation where you do Castle Tower in the dark, because more likely than not, that's a required item in order to complete the seed, which means you need to go to the Dark World through Agina, Aga 1, and it just wouldn't make sense to not have it then. Misery Mire, on the other hand, though, that could be a thing.
Yep, that's one of the nastier dark rooms, and actually one that I went over a little bit with UpliftingChafe after he forfeited out of one of the races we ran together after getting stymied by a Misery Mire dark room situation where, poor guy, he had never touched the thing, because why would you? It's a big pain. But it was that rare seed where the lamp could have been logically almost anywhere, and other than that, he had everything he needed for go mode.
Yeah, it's a really unfortunate situation to be in, so I can understand forfeiting on that regard.
And so far, just a bottle to speak of here in Eastern. That'll open up one additional item check, and still in logic. Vex about to exit logic for a moment.
We're going to do what I like to call some speedrunning degeneracy. Who needs logic?
Now, this dark room is one of the easier ones in the game, one that a lot of folks can manage to handle just by memory without needing to practice it much. Now, the next one after this, should our intrepid runners decide to attempt it, is quite a bit trickier, because you do have to kill that Igor for a small key, which is, it's a little rough.
And you got like 6 wiggler things like those, like wiggling about there. So, oh, we get Ether Medallion though for our second item, so that's fantastic. But yeah, as I was saying before, you got like 6 wiggler things in front of that Igor. So they might be just wiggling about in random locations where you don't know where they're at. So maybe that Ether Medallion may come in play if they have enough magic. So it doesn't work. So.
Yeah, Chafe will, but...
Oh, never mind. He just located that, no problem. Which is
very nicely done by VeXtopher there.
Yeah, very, very clean. Had to take the time to open up the door and get downstairs. Now he's just on his way to finishing up this first dungeon here. Uplifting is not too far off there. And while our runners are going through these last phases of the first dungeon, do give them a follow on their respective Twitch channels, as well as the mentors that's guiding them along the way. They're doing a great work of their guidance into our runners to make this all happen. And if, we're in the early phases, but, give a follow to our tracker, keeping up with the action, showing us the item count of both of these runners, as well as our Restreamer, who is blessing us with the ability to watch this and commentate along with us. Give a follow to my co-commentator as we get our first glove and the first crystal.
An out-of-logic glove from Armos that's going to be locked by either Fire Rod or Lamp. Chafe taking an unfortunate death in the dark does have that fairy that came preloaded in that bottle.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, if you're having some issues, I'm not sure if you cleaned out the room with the slimes, but it could also help out a lot if you can. This is some knowledge right here. Dipping into the pot to get one of those fairies back into a bottle because they have the bug net. This helps out a lot as far as safeties goes, especially if you know you're gonna have some more oopsie daisies like this. It's fantastic.
Yep. Meanwhile, Vex following that glove to where it leads. Let's see what's in the back of Escape here. Okay. Not a whole lot, but that small key means there will be an item in Dark Cross.
Especially since we did end up finding the map in from Uplifting's first part of the Escape side. Well, actually, no, he didn't escape too as well. Just not realized that. Yeah, hopefully the item in here is nothing too serious. Well, if it's serious, that would mean that something Uplifting may have some issues going through there. But yeah, this could be rather rough. But navigating through the dark seemed like to be the key thing for our runners to do right now. Hopefully they will get through these dark rooms. Not much issue. Not much more issue, I should say.
Yep, Chafe whipping out that ether medallion to try to clear the field, but unfortunately, I believe this is a super tile situation where those enemies are going to respawn when he re-enters here in a moment.
Picking up another fairy to get another mulligan going in the dark room.
Vex heading back to the flipper checks. He'll be happy to find his moon pearl now that he's got the troll toll for the big scary fish. But it's looking like our logical progression pretty much has to be Agina at this point, or Sick Kid in town, I suppose. And Chafe does get his small key. That's step one.
Looks like he lined himself up for the pot, so he should be able to get into this stairway. Yep, there he goes. As we see that the key has been depleted, and now he is going downstairs. Well, upstairs. Also, we get Waterfall Fairy is kind enough to give us a blue potion for dropping a bottle in there, so Vex is going to be very happy knowing that knowledge, that in case he needs to get some more blues. Because that's just like, okay, if you take the time to refill on anything, make sure you get the free blues. Blue goo is always a very tasty thing to have. It refills both your magic and your health to full. Unless you're playing on expert settings or hard mode item functionality settings, which is, I believe, half of that.
Yep, but that's not something that we have to worry about here today. Unlike, for example, the main tournament, we are on the normal item pool, and who uses hard item settings anymore? That's a bad mode for bad people.
Wow, I'm a very bad person then.
And Vex saving quitting out to Sank. This might be the beginning of an out-of-logic mountain play. That is going to have the density over Agina, but Agina pretty much has to have something important at this point.
Most likely, and I feel like I'm going to hate it when I say it, I feel like Agina may have our lantern.
Yeah, it's true. If all it has is the lantern, then this is ultimately going to be a time-saving move.
Looks like Uplifting is having the same idea. Well, at the very least, but I think they haven't checked the back of Escape yet, which is what they're going to... Okay, they are going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, Death Mountain, the Dark Room Death Mountain climb is pretty much easy as well to navigate through, especially if you've done it so many times, even with the lantern on. So this is pretty free. And with this, they can go to, once they finish checking the Spectral Rock, they can go ahead into the east side of Death Mountain thanks to the hook shot.
Yep, and the more I think through the logical implications, the more I do like this play, because if Vex happens to find Lamp up here, then logically Agina has to have Flute, and then he knows that that's a worthwhile trek to make.
Yeah, if you picked up Flute, if you pick up the Lantern up here, that is out of logic, then you can most definitely save, quit, and go grab that Flute right now. Usually, I try not to think about like the out of logic checks. Well, not thinking about the out of logic checks, but at the very least, not thinking about what I could potentially come across while looking through these stuff, except for like the stuff that is out of logic, because that means that something before it that is locked behind has to be somewhere where it's easily accessible to. We do get a Master Sword, so that's out of logic. Something tells me Hammer is not here. And I'm dreading.
Yep. Yeah, that's one more piece of the Aga puzzle, which is looking more and more likely at this point. Because a lamp in Agina would put that Master Sword into logic and open up Aga fully in logic. That could very well be what the seed intends for us to do here.
Meanwhile, it looks like Uplifting is trying to find the chest, ends up finding it in his 3-rounder rookie, so he's going to save and quit. And now he's probably going to figure, well, he has either two choices. Make the out of logic play, or go into the Agina to see what he has. But it looks like they may be going to Death Mountain as well.
Yep, and this is why it's good to cycle around, try and get yourself a few different mentors and get exposed to a few different styles of routing the game. Because if I'd been in the mentor seat, I would have told both these guys, you know something that you want in Agina, just go to Agina. But that's by no means a hard and fast rule. There are different ways to play the game. For example, you might find Titans in Spiral. Who knew?
Let's go. It's time to go in the Dark World now, and that's completely out of logic. Those gloves just blew this seed open wide. I'll be right back.
And since logic is, of course, just a suggestion, why not continue on with our logicless nonsense? And what's in Super Bunny? What's in Hookshot Cave? Let's find out. And there's the flute, also locked behind the lamp, which we now know by process of elimination virtually has to be in Agina, which is now a lot quicker to get to because of the out-of-logic flute. And there's our Dark World map check. We've got pendants in Swamp, in Turtle Rock. Of course, we knew about the green pendant Skullwoods. And I missed that red crystal. Hopefully our eagle-eyed tracker can fill in that bit of information for us. Looks like we've got that other red crystal in pod.
I haven't turned. So how did our spelunking into Hookshot Cave go?
Not a whole lot of interest in Hookshot Cave, although we did get our Dark World map check and pretty interesting crystal layout. We did also find the flute up in the mountain. So, yeah, Lamp is definitely in Agina, which is now going to be a lot quicker to reach.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. But yeah, that's kind of surprising, but you know what? That also is a... I feel like our runners can let out a sigh of relief, because it does look like Mezumari is a crystal. I feel like it is in their best interest when they start going towards there to go ahead and pay a visit to Agina and get that lantern.
And I believe, hopefully somebody can confirm, I believe that Swamp Palace was also a pendant, which is interesting. All right, I am seeing that get updated by our tracker there. Thank you very much. Because that means that we might not see the mirror for quite a while, if ever. And oh, I had forgotten about Sick Kid. Sick Kid was holding the lamp this whole time.
Hey! Sick Kid building us out for the quicker, easier access. Gotta love it. Looks like they're still going into the Misery Mire though, so it looks like they're going to do some early checks here, which is a excellent idea to do these checks early, because you can check to see which entry you need for Misery Mire, which is our Ether Medallion. So we got that knocked out, squared away already. So now all that's left is getting our go modes going, which is I believe it should be Fire Rod and the Hammer, which is, I'm gonna worry a little bit. We haven't yet seen the Hammer yet.
Yep, we also are going to need some way into Desert Palace. That could take the form of a book, or it could take the form of a mirror to go with our flute and Titan's mitts.
Some more arcane as well, because I do believe Misery Mire is hard required for that one. I just now noticed that, as well as boots, in case Desert Palace has a small key or big key locked up there on the torch.
Yep, so minimum 4 items from Go Mode here, possibly 5.
But yeah, this seed is going to look like this can go either pretty fast, depending on how the seed dictates it, or it can be brutally slow with these last 4 items that needs to be checked to be acquired.
Yep. Meanwhile, looks like Vex is heading into Village of Outcasts area. Always a little scary to be considering Thieves Town with no hammer in your inventory yet, but considering that it is the clearable crystal dungeon, and potentially even full clearable, it does make a lot of sense as a next move.
That, or they might be just doing some overall checking, because that could be on the plate as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but still gotta, if they could get the mirror though, that would put them in the position to just go right ahead and do some in and outs for light and dark worlds for the rest of the overworld, and between light and dark. I feel like, though, I guess it's my kind of play style. I usually go to Skull Woods first before this.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to go ahead and just knock out the front of Skull. A lot of runners these days consider that to be basically part of the overworld. So it's definitely a little skip on Vex's part, and especially when you don't have that hammer yet, you want to give yourself the opportunity to get it before making this Thieves Town play, if it doesn't take you too far out of your way.
And our first chest yields us a red potion bottle. Red potion optional. Bottle is definitely another added safety. Our runners are getting a lot of bottles today.
I believe Vex checked that as well. That is Bombos for Turtle Rock entrance. the 1 out of 3 medallions that we don't have yet, and that's kind of a nice sigh of relief, because you don't want to get drawn into a pendant T-Rock if you can possibly help it. And there's the boots. They're in Thieves Town. Very nice to find.
Time to speed. Seem like Uplifting is having the same ideas to free the bird and hopefully pay a visit to the sick kid to get his lantern. So he's not too far off from Vex. And hopefully they will be, well, not hopefully, but they'll either be going to the Dark World to check the Skull Woods or go into Thieves Town as well to see what's up.
We do indeed have that sick kid check, going to go ahead and restore logic and sanity to our world here.
Nothing to say about this world. Every item is all misplaced there and everywhere.
And Chafe is heading directly into the Dark World, not going to take the detour to go check Mire area, which is potentially a little time save for him. Close this gap a little bit. And he is also bypassing Skullwoods for the moment.
I wonder if that's a mentor decision to just go ahead and do the Thieves Town check. So Vex is nearing the final part of the Sound Dungeon, and we have yet to come across the small key. So if the small key is not in the maiden's chest, that means by key logic reasoning, the small key cannot be on the boss. Therefore, it is in the big chest, but I was really hoping it was just something else. But yeah, looks like the big chest had something in there. I'm not sure if it's a compass or map.
Yeah, I haven't seen either the compass or map. I know we've gotten at least 3 items, but I blinked a couple of times. I'm not sure if we've seen the 4th.
And I have a goldfish memory. Okay, we're missing a map. With the quick pause there, we're missing a map. Hopefully, there's nothing on blind. That is the map. Hopefully, it's another item. And if it is, our renters can breathe a sigh of relief without having to gamble on that chest being absolutely something. Vex is doing a pretty good script right now. Nearly followed it, but took a hit or two, but that's okay. Down the big thing, down goes blind goes, and that's a whole heart. I was about to say a piece of heart. But that means that the map is in the big key chest, so our runners don't have to come back here ever again, as Crystal 2 is now in Vex possession.
Yes, indeed. And looking at our loadout, the trek down to Hype Cave seems like the next obvious move from here. That's where the check density is. Of course, grabbing Dig Game and either Vex or Espeon correctly remembering, don't grab Jeremiah yet. Even if you want to take him on that world tour, you got to do some digging first, and frogs don't like dirt.
I usually call him Steve. I usually call that frog Steve for some reason. But yeah, the big game can't take anything, not even a chest with you for that one. But it looks like it was absolutely nothing, as there's just 3 bombs. So he's going to pick up the blacksmith. He's going to show him around the world, and then gonna go ahead and save and quit, and then make their way towards to the Kakariko village, just to turn him into blacksmith from this point.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see just how far this world tour takes him. You definitely want to make it at least to Hype Cave. With those flippers, you can swim around and go ahead and grab Pyramid and Catfish, but it's slow going for 2 checks.
There's our hammer. Speaking of which, hey,
Already hammer right there.
Yeah, that makes the trip going into Pyramid a lot quicker. But not only that, we'll have access to probably nearly the rest of the seed now.
Yeah, that opens up a whole lot of good stuff. Mostly in the form of more convenient access to Dark World portals at this point.
As well as like a few checks here and there, like Pet Cave. And then you can go into Pod, finish that seed up, especially since now you got that hammer and bow. This seed's pretty clean right now.
Yeah, Pod's looking like the obvious next place to go. And yeah, I do not blame Vex one bit for saving quitting out of Hype Cave. We'll go turn in the dwarf. It turns out he doesn't like dungeons either. And then Pod is right there saying, I got a bunch of items. I'm full clearable. It's in logic.
For a moment, I thought you were going to bust out an Italian accent on that one. Like, hey, you got all the items. I'm full clearable. Come on. Also, yeah, I want my money back on that Hype Cave. That was garbage.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since the Hype Cave regularly delivered.
More likely, it's going to end up be called the Snore Cave at this point. It's going to go out of business.
Yep, if you are relatively new to the scene, in older versions of Randomizer, the Hype Cave was, because of flaws in the item fill algorithm, almost always seemed to have progression. Since then, the devs have done a great job of tweaking that algorithm to be more truly random. The end result being that Hype Cave is no more likely to be worth it than any other 5 checks you could name.
Yeah, that's a little bit of history you can take back home with you.
VeXtopher paying the extortion monkey is indeed making that pod play. I've been telling my mentees, ABCD, always be clearing crystal dungeons. If you've got a fully clearable in-logic crystal dungeon ahead of you, you need a real good reason to go anywhere else.
Exactly. I agree wholeheartedly here. We do get 10 bombs for our first item. So I wonder if that means there's 2 keys in the front and 2 keys in the bow-locked room. I could be completely wrong. Don't quote me on this.
Yep, so the way... One of the quirks of key logic in Pod is that in the front, there can be no more than 2 non-small key items. So we just saw 1. It's useful to track that number, because if you do your checks in the right order, it can tell you whether it's worth spending the screen transitions to go to the vanilla big key chest or not.
Looks like UpliftingChafe is gonna pay a visit to the Snore Cave and gonna be pleasantly disappointed about the items that he'll obtain there.
We'll see what he opts to do from here. And yep, he's going to go ahead and take the save and quit and leave Pyramid and Catfish for another time.
And it looks like we did not come across our second item in the front, so it looks like there could potentially be something here in the big key chest with the big key location. So let's hopefully come across. Let's hopefully get to there and see what's up. Just a small game. Okay, it was absolutely nothing. But uplifting chaff, chaff, chaff. I gotta ingrain that into my poor brain right now. I'm tired. But went to King's Tomb to check that out, but didn't seem like anything there.
Nope, but Vex did find his other non-small key item in the front of Pod. It was the book, so that's going to open up a fully clearable desert. Just one crystal leading right along to another so far.
Delightful. And on top of that, if they do come across the mirror, we are going to see some tablet checks from there. But meanwhile, uplifting chaff is unearthing the red mail for us, which is on Bonk Rocks. I feel like those checks are going to come soon enough from Vex once they finish the pod ball things. It shouldn't take long.
Yep. And speaking of in-logic, fully clearable crystal dungeons, Tower of Hera is right there, but with the rest of Death Mountain already pretty well cleared out, and having to get to it the long way around, it'll be interesting to see when our runners decide to go for that necessary but out-of-the-way spot.
Well, with the fact that they don't have some more Arcane yet, as well as the Fire Rod, I feel like if they're kind of running out of options, they will have to go.
Yeah, we need either the Fire Rod or Bombos before Ice Palace becomes a concern. We can get into Misery Mire, but not complete it, so it's looking like past Desert, the choice of a bunch of kind of ugly options.
Hey, but what can you do? Rando is going to Rando. And it looks like Vex is taking an intentional death just so they can death warp back to the start with some health.
Yep, no sense walking all the way back through that lengthy dark maze. You got the items. Let's go fight a scorpion turtle in a mask, whatever Elmasaur is.
I mean, nobody cared who he was until he put on the mask. Now they know him as Elmasaur. We were merely adapting to the dark. He was born in it at this point, with all these dark rooms.
Yep. He doesn't let those smaller turtles have light. They get to crawl around in the dark until Link or maybe Mega Man comes down there to murder them. Elmasaur is a real bad boss. He hogs all the light for himself.
I mean, Palace of Darkness is a pretty big place, and it's also called Palace of Darkness, so...
Yeah, which makes him a hypocrite, too, if you think about it.
I know. It makes you want to go over there now and beat him up. Maybe that's why he's hiding behind a mask. Oh man,
this is Blind, the boss who canonically does not like the light. You'd think that he'd be the one hanging out in the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, it's weird how that works out. Alright, Vex is the first to enter in this room, so let's see how they do.
And with, what is it, 8 arrows to the jewel, finishing him off with a Master Sword slash. Helmasaur goes down. Holds only a map today.
We finished up all the items, so this it was to be expected.
All right, let's see where Vex goes from here. Desert would seem to be the obvious play, but Rando being Rando, the obvious play is not always the right one.
Yeah, I can agree to that by experience alone. It looks like he was about to go to Misery Mire for a moment and realized, wait, I ain't got the mirror.
Yup, muscle memory.
That's okay, though. Desert Palace should be full clearable, especially since now they have the boots. Let us see what Desert Palace has in store for us. Meanwhile, UpliftingChafe is definitely freeing that ferry because they're planning on doing a death work on their own as well. Don't want to go through this area again, which I don't blame them. This room sucks.
Yep, fortunately those Dodongo flames do a heart of damage regardless of your armor, so even with the red mail in tow, he'll be able to get this done.
Meanwhile, on Vex side, he's pulling up his third chest, and it's the big key. So we just coming across all of our dungeon items today, I suppose. Just gotta check the big key chest as well as the torch. One of those has to have an item, or it could be both of them. You know, I could be completely wrong, but if one of them has a dungeon item, Boss definitely has an item for us, which we're gonna kill anyway. So no point in worrying about it.
Ooh, the ice rod. Now that's always an interesting find in your pendant T-Rock seed.
Yeah, pendant T-Rock seed. Yeah. Though to be fair, I have come across seeds where we find ice rod much earlier with Turtle Rock being acquired.
And that was the powder in the big chest. Another nice little safety item, but also a fetch quest, and a pretty quick one to get to with flute and hammer in tow.
Yeah, it's not going to take long to get to Magic Bat to check that, get that check out the way. So I feel like that's going to be the next thing they're going to do if nothing else comes up. But it's also worth mentioning, believe it or not, Ice Rod does the same amount of damage, so to say, against Landrum, if I remember correctly. So you can use that to quick kill Landrum, but the timing on that is very, very different because of how the Ice Rod functions.
Yep, you are correct. Same amount of damage as the Fire Rod, but because the projectiles move a little more slowly, if you are practiced in Fire Rod strats, your muscle memory can get the better of you.
Let's see if Vex is going to attempt to do that fight with the Ice Rod. I mean, they got full magic. What they got out to lose?
Meanwhile, speaking of boss fights, Chafe heading into his Helmasaur fight.
Get some good hammering in on that mask, but does a spin to do some damage. I'm gonna pull out the bow.
That's interesting. Vex using Blue Cane on the Lanmos. Not a strategy that I see very often, and you can kind of see why. Just depleted his entire magic meter and just to kill one of those worms.
Yeah, well, 2 is down now, so it's not that bad. And down goes the other one, so it wasn't that huge of a time loss when you think about it. I guess I guess that was a better idea instead of being really inexperienced with the ice rod and missing all of your shots. So I don't blame him for this one.
Yeah, it's was definitely slower than an optimal ice rod fight, but definitely seemed a little safer too.
We are going to pay a visit to Agina's cave. Our runner just now realized that maybe there's something there. Hopefully, maybe the fire rod can, be nice. Give us fire rod, or give us the Samuricane, one or the other. We would love to have those already in our repertoire. Nope, just
$50.
Man, I could go for having $50 right now. I wonder if Vex has realized. Okay, I was about to say I wonder if Vex realized that he should be doing bomb procs in Kingston. But it looks like they're going to go ahead and do that.
Yep, 2 pretty quick checks. Not going to reward him with any progression, but with 11 hearts and now red mail, going to be feeling very tanky today.
That then, just on the runner's knowledge, they know they have to check them. So. So, where is our runners going to go to next at the Desert Palace? That is a good question, as it seems like... Oh yeah, they do have both red crystals. They can go ahead and take a look at Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, they've kind of run out of nice, convenient, obvious checks to make, so it's just going to be a matter of poking away at the edges of this seed until the next bit of progression reveals itself.
Now, the question is, which part of the seed that they should do their checks in to see if they can come across hitting the jackpot at this point.
Vex showing off some nice dash strats with that big red bomb. If you dash directly after hookshotting, you can get it to follow you more quickly than it is accustomed.
Yeah, it's a pretty good strat to do, especially when you are trying to get to navigate through here. There's another glitch that you can do with the bomb, and that is to set off the bomb, so to say, and doing it in a transition to keep it, I guess. It's weird, but I don't remember how it's working, so how it works. We do get some more, speaking of bombs, we get some triple bombs on the pyramid ledge. And inside the Pyramid Fairy, we get 10 arrows and 50 rupees.
Yep, and looks like Vex is walking out of here, probably gonna head up to Catfish. There's never really gonna be a better opportunity to do it, so It's out of the way, but might as well cross that off your list.
What time to do it than now, as some would propose. But they still got like Skull Woods to peek in to check, so I would not be surprised if there's some progression there, if that's the case.
Yeah, so far neither of our runners have poked their heads into Skull Woods, and if there is an important progression item in there, both of them are going to be wondering, oh god, did the other guy do that straight away before Thieves Town? Am I way behind now? Yeah, let's see what we get from Catfish. And it is silver arrows leg. Yeah, that's not definite progression, but that will make the Ganon fight much more trivial, especially if we're just going to be having a Master Sword today. Yep, and if that red cane should reveal itself sooner rather than later, that's also very, very nice for making the Vitreous fight a little more manageable, so could come in handy in a few places here. But for right now, it looks like Vex is going to be heading to Tower of Hera. That's 2 items in the dungeon itself, plus the tablet just outside, plus Spike Cave, so it's going to take him a little while to get there, but very likely to be worth it once he is there, especially since it is the crystal dungeon that can be completed at this point.
They do have a fire source too, so if they are forced to do coffee break room, this will be the agreeable situation to be doing coffee break room in. Now granted, coffee break room takes a while to do, but what can you do if it has your progression item locked in behind its check? Oh yeah, that's right, we do have the book too, so we can take a look at the Ether Medallion tablet. And that's going to give us 20 more rupees. Thanks. We can always use more rupees, I guess. We can all use a little bit more money.
Just a shield in that initial basement room of Hera. So our hopes for finding progression in here have just been cut in half. And did you notice there, after killing the mini Moldorm, Vex made sure to wait before picking up the drop until it had finished bouncing. If you grab it while it's still bouncing in the air, it messes up a variable that can make Herapot, I believe, just straight up impossible to do. At least using the bomb setup. I don't know if it affects the spin speed setup, which is what he wound up using. And that was the small key, so right now it's 50-50 whether that last item is going to be on Moldworm or in the basement hiding behind the coffee break.
Knowing Morty and his trolling ways, he probably has the key, so we're not going to be hoping for an item today. Though I could be completely wrong. And an excellent spin to finish off Mort.
All right, no worries about coffee break, just a trio of bombs, but it's nice to be able to leave that Hera basement behind with no worries.
Exactly.
So as we pass the hour mark in this race, UpliftingChafe has been pretty consistently trailing by about a dungeon. He's managed to close the gap a little bit here. Only a relatively short Hera dungeon behind at this point, but he's going to need to make up some time at some point.
It may have to be with one of the gambles, but not sure when that gamble will be. Not sure when the play call will happen for that gamble. Smart to see if something will come across to allow them to be a step further, but let's hope and find out as Uplifting doing the hairpot clip, thanks to the fact they got boots and hookshot. This is the easiest way to do it, believe it or not. Doesn't require like bomb placements and your pixel knowledge. You just put yourself in front of the door, move a little bit, and then try forcing yourself to clip in that way. Yeah, it's really useful.
Well, meanwhile, Vex is going to go ahead and see if that powder's worth anything today. What are you going to give us, Mr. Bat? Whole bunch of nothing. Could this finally be the Skullwoods play?
It has to be. If you're from Magic Bat and you're not coming up with anything from the overworld, my best bet would be going into there right now. But looks like they're fluting away. Where are they going to next? Oh, they're just want to reposition themselves in Kakariko Village much closer. That's cute. Actually, I don't blame them. Though it's still like a screen transition in some seconds. But oh, here we go. Some more runner knowledge for us. Magic Pot, full Magic Pot being in that tree. So if you need some more magic, that's where you go to before going into Skull Woods. That's for sure.
Yep, of course, unless we've got a vanilla or French vanilla fire rod, it won't matter as much right this second, but you'd rather have it and not need it than the other way around.
Looks like, yep, looks like our runners may have to take a dip into here and take a look-see to see what's going on. I don't think there's any other dungeons that they can get into, can they? We still have not found Bombos, so...
Yep, no way into Ice Palace. Without the mirror, Swamp Palace is off the table. There's Mire. There's 2 items in there.
Yeah, we can enter in Mire, but that would be silly for Mire to have some more arcane in there.
I mean, no sillier than Fire Rod being found in Skullwoods here. You know what I'm hoping for? Just each one to have the other's item. Let's find some Mario Rod here in Skull, and then Misery Mire will have Fire Rod. Let's go. Let's see it.
Oh no. But yeah, if anyone's wondering, Pedestal is dead because with Fire Rod and actually no, it wouldn't be dead unless Turtle Rock requires Bombos. But yeah, Bombos is the needed item here. It can be locked behind Pedestal because the rest of these pendant dungeons can be done with Fire Rod, but they don't need Bombos. Actually, no way, Ped's dead. What am I talking about? It wouldn't be, Bombos wouldn't be locked behind Ped at all. That wouldn't make much sense. Right?
Yep, Ped is dead, and whole bunch of nothing here in the front of Skull.
We only got one item out of here, right?
Yep. So that's a potential for Chafe to save some time if he is willing to double down on that Skullwood skip.
You get 20 rupees on Bumper Ledge, so now I don't have to worry about getting the cake. And yeah, looks like they're going. Okay, no, they're just gonna.
I'm guessing hammer pegs.
Ah, yes, hammer pegs in the purple chest. Okay. Yeah, they did not finish their blacksmith chain, so this is an understandable play. Meanwhile, the Pyramid Fairy just only gives us the good bee. I mean, at least it's the good bee.
And no Silverless Ganon fights today. Chafe is heading up towards Catfish for his silver arrows.
Piece to Front was in Peg Cave. That is not something you was hoping to come across, but you know what? We're just gonna have to move on with our lives and try to make the most of it.
Meanwhile, the purple lunchbox is just 10 arrows. It looks like Mire may very well be the answer after all.
In the mire we go. Time to double dip it. Because it's going to have our bombos. It's going to have our bombos and nothing else. And then we got to get Ice Palace.
Well, I mean, it's got to have Fire Rod, so that'll open up ice. But more importantly, that's gonna give us our moth for Red Cane. I've decided. And Chafe continuing to follow just a few steps behind VeXtopher's path. And hard to blame them. Every step of the way, they've been making the common sense play. And this seed has just been determined to hold the goods back from them.
Cursed backloaded seeds. In our first chest, we get a small key from Vex in the Misery Mire. So not technically a God Mire, unless the second chest has a big key. Then it is.
Yeah, but of course, you're always going to get the God Mire when you're not in go mode. But not today.
Not today. We get a bunch of keys for our efforts, so time to go cash those in and see what's up. And in the compass chest, we get a mirror.
There's. Oh, you can see Vex thinking, do I just get out of here now? You gotta at least get the big key. It's not gonna be much use right now, but you're gonna have to get it sooner or later.
Stick the landing, yeah. Make sure you gotta stick the landing here. You can't bail out on us yet. There's our big key, but we should be checking the other chest as well, since we got the switch down here. The left side, the right side chests.
Yep, there's one more item to be found. 3 more places to check for it, or it could be hidden behind that red cane on Vitreous.
Or it can be in Swamp. I mean, we have the access to Swamp now.
Yeah, well, one more item, whether in this dungeon, whether it's progression or not, probably not. Swamp is probably the answer at this point. Although, that mirror also opens up those nice orphaned Cave 45 and Graveyard Ledge checks as well.
That is true. And then our second item is Bombos.
Oh, hello. So there's Ice Palace. And and Turtle Rock once the red cane reveals itself. But more importantly, Ice Palace and a crystal.
It's time to go swing ourselves down into that Highway Lake. Get to the Charity Ferry. I'm tongue-tied today, in case y'all haven't noticed. But yep, time to take a look at Ice Palace. Unfortunately, they don't have some more arcane, so they can't be doing icebreaker much. But
as it should be. I had to learn IPBJ, so do all the rest of you.
I had a few people that argued about Ice Palace bomb jump being much easier than door extension in here. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I would tend to disagree with that, if only because you can retry that icebreaker pretty much as many times as you need to. It might not feel good if it takes you a while, but you can do it. With the IPBJ, especially if you're sitting on low percentage, you got to be eyeing how many hearts am I spending to do this? How many bombs am I spending to do this? And speaking of bombs,
pretty good uses of the bombs there. It's looking out if like nearly all the penguins, but oh my goodness, hello!
Ooh, look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1 hour, 13 minutes in and 25 seconds. Vex is now into his go mode. Not only that, he can just break open the Ice Palace as much as he wants to right now.
Yep. Now that fire rod may still be logically required if the GT big key is on the right-hand side, But that's ask your mentors about doing a bomb jump to do that with the lamp instead, because it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's not the hardest thing either, and it beats searching all around the world for that skippable fire rod. But yes, with both Skullwoods and Turtle Rock as pendants, those are the two dungeons that would normally hard require the fire rod. That today, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I mean, if fire rod's in here, I'll be utterly disgusted at that point. But man, who would have thunk it? Bombos from Misery Mire to get into Ice Palace to get your Goku. You're a pseudo Gomu, because we don't know if fire rod's required yet.
Yep, and whether it's logically required or not, I wouldn't necessarily expect our runners to know the bomb jump to bypass it in GT, but I would expect both of our mentors to be able to walk them through it. It's with 11 hearts, you're not too worried about taking the damage. You've got 3 bottles that you can fill up with magic refills, so that's not your limiting factor. You can take quite a few tries at it, and it's gonna save you time to do.
I believe that's item number 2 in the Ice Palace, the 5 rupees, isn't it? Seems like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've not been counting, to be perfectly honest.
I know we picked up the some arcane, and it was 5 rupees. Let's count, because I know it's has to be 3.
Yep, so yeah, if that's... Vex was still checking chests like he expects there might be another item there, and with only Master Sword to his name, you want to be able to find that tempered, if at all possible. Certainly worth checking chests that are right on your critical path.
Yeah, I would go out. If I'm still missing one more chest check in this dungeon, I would definitely go out the way to check T-Slime for sure.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure Vex did skip Iced Tea Room, and I don't blame him. That one's awkward to route in.
Not that really. I mean, you just go around, get the key, open the door, and then go through the fire bar, and then just come back the way you came from.
Yep, but think how many screen transitions you just described there for the off chance that it might contain an item that isn't even hard required. You're in go mode. I wouldn't spend the time.
I suppose.
Like, yeah, it sucks if it turns out that that's tempered and you totally could have saved yourself the time, but even still.
I feel like if that was the case, though, that would cut time on Ganon a lot more compared to skipping out on it.
Well, that's the thing. If it is the case, but it's such a low % chance that it is, that at some point you've got to make some intelligent skips, and that's one of them.
That's true. And it looks like Uplifting is going to do the cutscene chests. So I feel like it seemed like they're making the decision of cleaning up the left side first before they go to the right side, which I don't blame them, but we know that's not the answer here.
Yeah, I don't hate it because he's still looking for the second item as well as the big key, so in his mind it's pretty even odds that something he needs will be in here, but oh well.
And Vex making effective use of the hard-earned money that he earned in the sea to get some more blues. Despite the fairy giving free ones in the waterfall. Which I'm pretty sure he knew at that point, but I guess he just
but it's quicker to just buy them, and what else is he going to use that money for?
I suppose. I mean, it could be worse. We could be playing in retro settings where money is required to use the arrows for.
Yep, there's the big key for Chafe. He's sticking around for that second item, and he's going to be real glad he did.
Yeah, that will prompt him to immediately go into the ice palace. Once he gets that, and just goes, oh well, shoot, we just gotta go. We gotta go. Oh wait, no. Okay, there we go. I think the mentor mentioned that he should be leaving this dungeon. He does not have the Samora Cane yet. We need to go to Ice Palace.
Meanwhile, Vex does have that red cane, is beelining towards Vitreous, has the bow, has the silver arrows. That's going to make that a pretty trivial boss fight.
Plenty of ammunition in that bow. Can probably miss a shot or two while we're at it. But still have enough for Ganon Tower.
Oh, yeah, easily.
And the fact that they didn't really need to hit that switch again makes this going in here not that much of an issue. Like, you know, I was honestly expecting spooky glitch to be happening, but I guess not today.
Yep, it didn't look like there was an attempt, and spooky is a nice little time save, but when you're just learning all the various ins and outs and tips and tricks, it's fun and it's swaggy and it is a time save, but you could be spending your practice time on learning other tech that's going to be more valuable.
Like splash deletion.
And the big eyeball goes down. And, oh my, is that our 7th crystal?
Yes, it is our 7th crystal. You know what that means?
That means, by the way, thank you, Drunk Future Self. Of course Vex didn't do spooky, he doesn't have Fire Rod. But yes, that means there's 22 spots where that GT Big Key could be hiding.
Get your guesses in while we are traversing up to Ganon's Tower. I'm not sure if we got a prediction channel thing going on for the for this little shindig, but that's okay if it's not the case.
Yep, we don't worry about fake internet points. It's for glory and honor.
What are you talking about? I want those internet points. I need those internet points. How else am I supposed to feel validated?
I mean, you could check the Post Moldorm 2 chest. That's how I get my validation.
Wow. Of course you would. But yeah, I believe that, you know, I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb and say that the big key is going to be located on the 8th chest today.
Looks like Chafe is going to go ahead and check Iced Tea Room. So he's going to spend a little bit of time, be a little extra thorough, but he's going to be disappointed by what he finds. Oh boy, Vex having some, Vex getting vexed by the Lionel there.
Maybe if he had a tempered sword, that would have been a much easier way to get into here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be this petty.
I mean, it turns out that, Iced Tea Room was mushroom, so for all we know, that is where the tempered sword's hiding.
This seed is also petty, I see. So first chest is some rupee, boomerang red of the red variety, and the second one And it looks like we're going to go ahead to the left side. Let us hope that the left side has our big key. Number 3 has a whole heart.
Meanwhile, Chafe is dropping into his cold stare fight.
Prop it up, ready to go as we pull up number 4, 5. Can we get a number 6? And number 7 will be another small key. Well, looks like we're going deeper into this dungeon. Meanwhile, Uplifting doing a fantastic job nailing some hammer shots into these clouds.
Yeah, that hitbox is tricky, and he's switching over to some Master Sword spins. Hard to blame him.
Number 8 was something, but I didn't know what. I kind of blinked and missed it. Probably wasn't anything at all, because we are still here at the left side of Dennis Tower, so there goes my guess.
Yep. Chafe burning a red goo to keep the fight moving. That's chest number 9 over there on the left screen, and nothing quite yet. I also noticed that we found the shovel in Stalfos' room. So clearly... Oh, and there it is. That was 11, I believe?
Yes, that was definitely number 11. Our winner for today is, I think that is Mikono's victory. No, wait. Yeah, that has to be the closest without going over. No, wait, no. I see a 15 here. I just cannot read the name because it's in blue. Excuse me. I missed.
Well, if we're doing Price is Right rules, then Tigran Phoenix is the closest without going over at 7.
No, he went over. That was chest number 11.
Well, it depends on if you're... I suppose it depends on if you're counting your number as the target or the actual number as the target.
Definition of going over is if you get the chest that you guessed is lower than the chest that is where the big key is. That's going over.
So you didn't go over. The seed went over you. In Soviet Russia.
You know what? I'm not here to talk about logistics here of numbers. We are going through our gauntlet right now, and without that fire round, it could be a little bit difficult, especially on Master Sword. But it looks like Vex is doing a great job of handling it. They do have silvers, a few more shots on it at the very least, so they can take care of some of the issues that they could potentially have. But looks like the enemy's random movement decided to play nice today, except for that laser.
Yeah, that Beamos is mad. He wants revenge. And Vex showing off a weird quirk of the way the Landmos spawn here. If you take too much time in that hallway to, say, powder that fairy for safety, the Landmos spawn closer together. So you need to either hurry through to get the setup for the Quicksilver Arrows kill, or take your time so that they spawn at exactly the same time, and you can hit them all with one sword spin to open up the fight.
Takes a bit of work to do. Thanks to some arcane, we get a quick kill on the both Riz Rolls rooms from the looks of it. Yes, we do. And we're gonna move on into the we're getting close to the end. I would like to think that the last set of chests could bail out Vex into not doing this without Temper. Because that's kind of like the worried concern here for our runner, for the most part. Like once it gets to fit the last phase for Ganon, it won't be that much of an issue. But the rest of the phases, though, yeah, just
and we're seeing some frustration slashes from Vex. This torch room can be a little tough without the fire rod. The timing window is a little tighter. Makes it on his second try.
Yeah, it's a lot more strict. You gotta, especially since you have to go out of your way to hit those torches pretty quickly. And I wonder if he realized that he needed to do the. Oh wait, no, there he goes. He had the response. All right, so he's good to go.
Yeah, the reach on the lantern is always just a little longer than you think it is, and thankfully so, because it means he does not need the fire rod, which is what you would normally use.
Yep, but unfortunately, those two checks in the mini Helmsor room didn't yield anything of desired.
Yep, of course. Vex really doesn't have to worry. Master Sword Ganon is slow, but with silver arrows, it's not too terribly hard. Especially with yet another fairy for safety. And he's got quite the sizable lead, but a tempered would be a nice to have, but not a need to have.
Meanwhile, Uplifting is making their way towards the Ganon Tower, so they're gonna soon enough enter in there as we open our last chest from Vex, which is 5 rupees. So there is no nice shiny new sword to be had for our Ganon fight, which is okay. Persistence will be playing key here, seeing if our runner knows how to deal with Master Sword Ganon. Hopefully they won't get weared out, but let's see where it goes.
Nice double to open up the Aga 2 fight.
Quick question. Do you do spins or do you do slashes for this fight, personally?
I mostly do spins. Unless the setup is such that it's obviously a bad idea, but I do default to spins.
Oh, okay. I'm more of a slashing guy.
Oh, Chafe having some Lionel troubles here.
I think everyone's going to be having some Lionel troubles with the way this seed has been playing. But meanwhile, Vex just finished their Aga 2 fight, so now they're going to go ahead and do the big confrontation with the big man himself and fight Ganon. Meanwhile, Uplifting Chafe is going to take their way up the stairs to enter in Ganon's tower.
Yep, so just about a GT apart at this point. Quite the sizable lead for Vex, but interesting to note that even as this seed has seemed to make a point of hiding all of the progression in the weirdest place, we're still sitting at a very respectable 90 minutes with Vex going into the pig fight.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like the thing was, it's like the huge progression that was needed, which was Titan's Mint, the Moon Pearl, and the hook shot, as well as the bow, kind of helped lead to the rest of the items with the way our runners have routed it. So I feel like it's because of those items were present, our runners were able to piece together the needed route to, at the very least, get to a low time of getting to Ganon's tower, to say the least, at this kind of time. So yeah, it's pretty good pacing.
Yeah, and Vex getting a little bit bullied by those bats there. Even with red mail, you can only take so many of those hits, and he's having to burn one of his safety potions.
Thankfully, he gets out of phase 2, which is probably the worst phase to deal with Ganon. Yeah, the sooner you get out of that phase, the rest of the seed can feel pretty free.
And the 4 spins down, entering into the final phase. Getting ready for a little torch glitch here. Playing it very safe with that. He knows he's got a blue potion in his back pocket if he needs to. So spam half your magic meter. It's fine. You're good.
Now, if he lined himself right next to Ganon instead of being on top of him, he can get doubles to finish this up. But that's okay, though. Ganon's going to go down on this narrow arrow shot and does so promptly. Everyone get your GGs out for Vex once he crosses that bridge and finish with a time of 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 25 seconds. Finishing up the race and claiming first place for the week. Gotta admit, that's a pretty wild scene for Hammer to be so deep. Not Hammer to be so deep, but Mirror to be that deep into the sea. Mirror and Bombos.
Yeah, lots of pretty funky locations where things were hiding. But a very respectable time. You know, I always remind myself when RNGesus seems to have it out for me. There was a time when any sub 2 hour felt great. And now you've got people in the beginner tournament, no less, rocking these 95-minute seeds like it's nothing.
Hey, that's just the... I was gonna say that is just the result of what you can do when you practice the long game and actually do the homework and have some good mentors on your side. Do this.
Yep, and it looks like we will be joined by VeXtopher and Espeon in just a moment here. GG's, gentlemen.
GG's.
So, how do y'all feel about that seed and its adamant decision of keeping not only Fire Rod but Bombos locked deep into the seed like that?
Yo, Espeon was getting really scared that he was gonna have to teach me the bomb jump for right side GT. I was like, no, we're gonna try it. We gotta risk it. There's only 4 chests over there, so if we have to learn it, we'll try. But
I mean, yeah, the sensible thing to do is to go into GT, of course, but I was a little worried, like, oh, I mean, Big Key can totally be over there. It's like it's 4 and 22, so.
Yeah, there was definitely some talk here in the commentator booth, like, I sort of doubt that either of our runners know that tech already, but it is the sort of thing that you could try and learn on the fly, and you get a bunch of chances before you're dangerously low on bombs or magic. You can probably figure it out.
Also the Master Sword. It's funny that I'm looking now that the pedestal actually has a sword in there.
Oh, really?
What a world.
Yeah, my cold stare got a little out of control. It was going okay for a minute with the hammer, and then it got out of control. I missed the first spin, which really just kind of ruined everything.
Yeah, but he managed to recover from that, so that was it was good that it didn't went too hectic, because taking hugs from cold stare can still do a considerable amount of damage, even on red mail.
Yeah, so Espeon would like to make a public service announcement about Berna on Landos.
Yeah, how did UpliftingChafe kill Berna, or kill Winmos? Because it's probably not with the ice round. Oh wait,
He did.
We did have Ice Rod. Wait,
Yeah.
I'm a dumbass.
We should have used the Ice Rod. Oops.
No, it's fine. We had Rona, and it was cooler anyway.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Like, Canterbury must have been the safer choice, especially if you don't.
I mean, no. Ice Rod was better. I just forgot it was there because basically, at that point, Ice Rod was completely useless, so I didn't track it.
Yeah, we actually just had a conversation right before that. He was like, we grabbed the Ice Rod, and then he was like, oh, you know, we probably shouldn't have grabbed that because it's completely pointless. and then we forgot that we
the reason that I would skip it is because if I was playing, I would kill landmoves with the bow.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you and your NMG.
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, we have bow, but here's a fun way to do it. And burn out landmoves is actually very good. Like, no one talks about it, but it's actually very good, especially with half magic. You can just walk around and shred them.
Yeah, I was sort of surprised because it's not something that ever really occurred to me. But as a backup for your sword, it definitely made that fight go a little bit quicker than just sword or bow strats alone.
Unfortunately, we got really bad RNG on it, so it didn't go all that well.
It was still a 3 cycle though, so it wasn't that bad. It was faster than my Lambos too with the silver arrows because I timed the arrows to save my life.
That happens.
Oh, under a minute of menu time.
So we don't have Fire Rod at all, I notice.
Yeah, some Seed said no, you cannot have Fire Rod today.
Yeah,
apparently.
I suppose it's probably just in Swamp Palace.
Either in
Yeah.
Swamp or I was gonna say TR could be also.
Yeah, TR is fairly unlikely to have it,
Yeah,
though.
that's right. You don't have the key set up.
It could also be in like the back part of GT that I assume
Or-
nobody did.
Oh, that's true. It could also be in any of the mirror checks. Well, at least
Yeah.
we didn't do any of the mirror checks. Which, that was a good choice on our part. Would have been easy
Yeah.
to knock out a couple of those, but we just were like, you know what, we'll just clear the crystal, and if we don't get Samaria, then we'll go do some mirror checks. We'll do Swamp, actually, and then we'll go do mirror checks. But it's right there in the Ping Gator room.
Yeah, the mirror and Bombos are actually not that deep into logic, because the first time we went to Mire area upon gaining Dark World access, we could have gone into Mire. And I was like, ooh, we can go into Mire. And then we're like, nah, that's silly. Let's not do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you had like the decision to go in there early, like as early as when y'all first got in Titan's Mage, which was in
Yeah, on
on
Spiral Cave.
Parrot. Yeah, Spiral
Spiral
Cave. So
We did fleet down there and check the shed, but then we were like, do we go in? And they were like, nah, go away. But, you know, it's actually might be good that we didn't. I don't know if it would have saved time or lost time, because honestly...
I feel like it'll be more of a time loss, because then on top of your checks, the mirror will probably persuaded y'all to do the overall checking as well with the mirror.
No, I don't think it would lose time. The big thing that it saves time on, the thing it saves time on is Smith Chain, because we spent a while doing Smith Chain with extra stuff,
Yeah.
and having Mirror just speeds that up by a decent margin.
We were gonna kill the Smith with Kiki, but we got the hammer, and that made it faster to flute over and turn him in, and then flip back to 5.
No. Yeah, that's right.
But we really were gonna let Kiki have his way with the Smith.
But yeah,
Alright.
uplifting.
Chafe is dropping into his Ganon fight. He's gotten the bad news that there will be no Tempered Sword today.
Let's see how they fare against Ganon with the Master Sword and Silvers. Looks like they're doing a good job of pacing themselves, trying not to get too greedy on the spins there, like backing off when they know the Trident is homing in on them.
Yep, I was about to say playing it very safe. I haven't been paying attention to what's sitting in his bottles, so that might have something to do with it if he knows that those 5.5 hearts are all he has to work with.
He also there was a fairy in the room before more too, so they do have a fairy in a bottle just in case they do end up getting oopsie daisy.
Ah, very true.
Yeah, looks like they're taking the time, getting as many spins as they can in a safety reason, realm of reasoning. One thing that I kind of was hoping they would do is start using the hook shot so they can go through some iframe, get the iframes going, so they don't have to worry about dodging as much. But I think they're dodging pretty well. They haven't got hit by like a bat when they're sent out, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, I was like, I knew I needed a couple more hits, and he teleported to the top right corner, and so I like got my burn out. And this is good. Taking the death there, I like it, because now he's gonna be in the corner. Spin away.
Hopefully they can hook shot out of the trouble, or use brand the blue cane. That's very useful. I keep forgetting that they have those.
Oh, they got the fake hit though.
That's rather unfortunate, but that's okay.
I've actually never seen it happen.
Yeah, it just happens if you hit Kennen too late in the phase 3 warping, and he just teleports away and ignores your hit.
I remember that teleport cycle. It's long.
It was very, very long.
Nope.
Taking another death, unfortunate, but they got another fairy though, so that's okay.
Okay.
This is their last fairy though, so they need to make sure they don't get tagged anymore from fire bats.
Do they have any potions?
Yes, they do. If I'm not mistaken, one blue. Bait out the bat, light the torch, you're good to go. It's just a matter of you still need your spins, buddy.
Got some arrows. Yeah,
It's so hard
easy
to
to
remember.
forget. Like, it's easy to forget.
Yeah, that always gets me in Master Sword Silver Arrows Ganon is I'm spinning, but I don't want to get the silverless timing. That muscle memory will get you.
Not enough time to get to that one, but that's okay. We still need to... He was looking for Fire Rod for a moment, and I kind of feel
Pretty
bad.
sure.
Like, I would have done the same thing, too. Looking for Fire Rod in this situation. But should be able to finish this fight up. Just need to light the torch one more time and do another spin and another deposit of the silver arrows into Ganon's face, and that should be the end of this fight. Unfortunately, didn't do it in time, but that's okay.
I don't know, man. The boomerang's pretty powerful.
Yeah, you just thought the boomerang was okay. But that'll been something for another completely different day. Thankfully enough, though, got plenty of like resources to do this. And down goes Ganon.
Yeah, I always renew my silver Ganons. The quick swap, I'm sure it probably could be faster, but
With how many items that y'all have, it'll be a lot faster to pause and just go to it. But
well, it's always up from either Fire Rod or Lamp. Right?
Yeah. But Uplifting Chafe has finished with a time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 16 seconds, doing an excellent job of finishing up the seed within the no, that is within 15 minutes. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely is. By like a few seconds or so. So
It's about a 13-minute difference.
So we're going to go ahead and fly through the credits here, and we'll see if we can get Chafe and Corvid in for a little bit of an interview here. And here they are, GG's, Chafe and Corvid.
GG's, guys.
GG's.
So when did you dive mire for that mirror and bundle?
Last location.
Yeah, basically that's what we
same.
Same.
Yep.
Same. we
Did,
checked it after desert just to see what the medallion was and just to get the items there. It's like, okay, well we could go in now, but there was still other stuff to do.
Yeah, we did the exact same thing. Well, we did it first. So like the first thing we did when we got a Titan's mix, we activated the flute and immediately fluted to the shed and checked the medallion.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, we can go in here. And then we were like, nah.
Should have done that. Should have followed my gut.
Yeah, I was thinking it too, but I was like, there's so much other stuff to do right now. I hate to have to. I was thinking maybe red
clearing desert. If it's after clearing desert, I don't know. That time is much more reasonable, I think.
That is true. Actually, that is true. We could have done it then.
Did you guys find a third sword anywhere?
Ped.
Oh, Ped. We didn't even check Ped. Oh.
Well, we just saw it in credits.
It's not in the credits.
Oh, okay.
More likely
You don't have fire rod either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no fire rod.
No, we never had fire rod.
Getting a little bit worried about the GT right side.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
A little. I've never done the bomb strat for that with the.
Me either.
So.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not teaching Chaff how to do that because I don't even know how to do it.
If it was on shovel behind shovel fire rod, I was asking Gray about that during the race. I'm like, so can the fire rod be on the shovel even though we got the shovel from the Dark Magician room? Like, and apparently it can. So that would be unfortunate.
That would have been unfortunate.
Did you guys do Dark Eastern to get your first gloves?
No, we did EP to get our first glove.
That's what I meant. I said dark. We did dark.
We did dark, yeah. It took us, unfortunately, a little while to get through it, but we got it.
Yeah,
and,
so bottle in Eastern to Sick Kid for the lamp, and then back to Eastern. Like,
yeah, that is also gross.
Like, that just makes me mad at this game, that would even, like...
Yeah, after we got Flute and Titan's Mitts on the mountain, we were kind of like, okay, so, well, Titan's Mitts and then we got Flute and Super Bunny, I think. We were like, all right, well, logically, the only thing that was available to us was Agina or Sick Kid.
Right.
And
exactly.
So it had to be the lamp.
Yeah. We were talking about that same thing.
Yeah.
It's actually, so there's actually something deeper there, I think. By the time you're there, like, you've gotten a glove out of logic, which means that to get logical Dark World access, you need 2 items. And you're very unlikely to get both of those from Sick Kid and Agina. So the best thing to do is, because you will need more items, is you should just go to the mountain. Because whatever you get of those will unlock the mountain almost certainly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what else is it going to unlock? You've already done the entirety of White World except for mountain.
Yeah.
So you go to mountain and you get the thing that's behind whatever's on Sick Kid or Agina, because you don't know which. And then one of them will speed it up, hopefully.
Yeah.
Which it did.
And then the money at the beginning of the seed was kind of like...
I was a little worried about that, too.
Please give me some rupees.
Yeah.
I was worried about that, too. I was thinking, we can hula hand. I was like, oh, no, we have flippers. Never mind.
They gave you flippers, and you're like, oh, well, I guess we're not hula handing.
We're not hula handing now.
But it worked out.
Did you guys check the back of Escape?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, too.
Yeah.
We went to Dark Cross as well.
Yep.
Same.
In the dark.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only way I got a key right quick that time. It was sometimes it's slow. Sometimes.
Yeah.
It took me a bit. But I'm glad I didn't have to get stuck on Dark Mire. So that's good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Both of y'all did Meyer with the lantern, though. Just thankful.
Yeah. Well, the last race that I had restreamed, I got stuck on Dark Mire and had to forfeit because trying to learn that on the fly is basically impossible. But the following week, I worked with Ben a whole bunch and learned that whole Dark Mire and got it down pat and didn't have to use it, which is good because I would rather not have to do that. But
I almost feel like when there's tricks that you practice like a lot because you're ready to practice them, and you're like, look, I want to use this in a race. I almost want it to happen in a race. Like if I feel really comfortable with like a hard, difficult thing to do, like I almost want it to happen in the race because then I can you can kind of maybe get an execution advantage. Like if you're really good at Dark Mire, your opponent's iffy. And it happens in a race. That's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah, but of course what happens is that it never shows up and never shows up and never shows up, and then it finally shows up 3 months later, and it's like, well, thanks. Now I'm rusty.
Exactly.
And everyone else has practiced it now. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I can comment on about this seed. Do you, Ben?
Nope. GG's to both our runners, and thanks to both our mentors, and of course, big thanks as always to our trackers and restreamers here.
Yep. Do give all these runners and mentors the respect they follow in their respective channels, as well as a follow to our tracking, our restream, and us commentators for helping y'all get the good look-see of how these races come out to be. If you're interested in speedrunning randomized, Go Mode Podcast do have a website that talks about the randomized scene in and out of it, as well as they have a bi-weekly seed. They have a bi-weekly podcast you can listen into that talks about all this stuff and all the news and events that transpires with the MV randomized community. So do give them a look.
All right. Any final thoughts for the people at home before we call it a night, gentlemen?
I just say GG, Chafe.
Yeah. GG, man.
Yeah. GG.
Until
and
next
good luck
time.
in the rest of your matches.
Until next time. Yeah, good luck.
All right. And with that, from everybody at Go Mode, thank you, everybody, and good night.